I stood in the tiny waiting room behind the church, clutching my bouquet so tightly that petals shook loose. "Is he here yet?" I whispered to Claire. My voice cracked, and she tried to smile. "Ava, it's fine. Maybe he's just stuck in traffic," she said, though she didn't sound convinced. "Traffic? On our wedding day?" My chest tightened. He promised he'd be early. He said he wanted to see me the moment I arrived. Claire placed her hands on my shoulders. "Breathe, okay? He'll walk in any minute." But he didn't. Minutes dragged like hours. The sounds of guests murmuring outside grew louder. I pushed the door open an inch and peeked out. "Is she crying?" someone whispered. "Poor girl, maybe something happened. Or maybe he got cold feet." Their voices stabbed into me. I shut the door quickly and pressed my back against it. Why is everyone whispering? Why isn't anyone telling me anything? Claire pulled out her phone. "Let me call him again." I watched her face as she dialed. 1 ring. 2. Voicemail. "Try again," I said, my breath shaking. She did. Again. Voicemail. I felt something inside me cracking. He wouldn't do this. Ethan wouldn't leave me. "Ava." "No," I whispered. "He told me he'd never hurt me. He said." My phone buzzed. I stared at it, afraid to touch it. Then I opened it. One message. "I can't do this." No explanation. No apology. "What?" I whispered. My knees buckled, and Claire grabbed me. "Ava, I'm so sorry." "This isn't real," I said. "Call him again." She did. Again and again. Always voicemail. My heartbeat pounded in my ears. He left me standing here like a fool. My voice broke. "Why? What did I do?" "You didn't do anything," Claire said. But I couldn't believe her. Was I not enough? Did he find someone else? Am I the problem? "No. Don't do that to yourself." "I have to know why," I whispered. A knock came. "Ava?" "Guests are asking if we should tell them something," the coordinator said. Claire answered, "Tell them the ceremony is delayed." "It's been delayed 30 minutes already," she replied. I stood up, legs trembling. "I can't stay here." I pushed past Claire into the hallway. People turned their heads. Some gasped. Others avoided my eyes. "She's alone," someone whispered. My breath hitched. I walked faster, heels clicking unevenly. My gown dragged behind me, heavy like a reminder of everything falling apart. Outside the church, sunlight hit my face. I blinked through tears. I expected Ethan's car. I expected him running toward me. Nothing. Just silence. Claire caught up to me. "Ava, let's go home." I wiped my tears. Why would he do this to me, Claire? Why would someone who claimed to love me choose to destroy me without saying a single word? She didn't answer. And the emptiness in her silence told me everything. I took a shaky breath. "Do you think he ever loved me?" I asked, my voice barely audible. Claire stepped closer. "Ava, maybe he did. But this, it's cruel." "Cruel?" I laughed weakly. "It feels like he ripped out my heart." "I'm sorry," she said. "I pictured him holding my hands today," I said. "Telling me I looked beautiful. And now I'm standing here asking why he didn't even bother to face me." "You don't deserve this," Claire whispered. "But he chose this," I said. "He chose to hurt me." "What do you want to do?" she asked. "I don't know," I said. "I just know I can't walk back inside." Claire nodded. "Then we leave together." I looked at the church one last time. I thought this place would be the happiest moment of my life. "And now?" Claire asked softly. "Now it's the place where everything ended," I said. I felt the weight of every broken promise pressing down on my chest. 600 words, first-person POV, dialogue-focused. I stayed in my apartment for days, barely touching food, barely speaking. Claire kept knocking, and when I finally opened the door, she stared at me with worried eyes. "Ava, please talk to me," she said. I shook my head and whispered, "I don't know how." She stepped inside anyway. "You can't shut down like this." Tears rushed out before I could stop them. "He blocked me everywhere," I said. "I can't ask him why he did it. I can't even hear his voice." Claire sat beside me. "Then let me help you." She hugged me, and I let myself cry into her shoulder. "You're hurting," she whispered. But you're not alone. I wanted to believe her, but every time my phone stayed silent, the truth stabbed deeper. Marianne told people I pushed him too fast, I said bitterly. Claire froze. She what? I nodded. She said I trapped him. That I pressured him into marriage. Claire swore under her breath. She's trying to protect him by destroying you. I closed my eyes. And she's succeeding. Days later, I forced myself back to work. Grace greeted me gently. You okay? She asked. I laughed weakly. Does it look like I'm okay? She shook her head. No. But I've got your shifts covered if you need to breathe. I whispered, thank you. She touched my arm. Don't thank me. Just take care of yourself. But taking care of myself felt impossible. I kept dropping cups, zoning out, trembling whenever the door chimed. Grace nudged me. Sit for a bit. I sat, staring at my shaking hands. Why can't I focus? She looked at me with soft eyes. Because you're grieving. I whispered, grieving someone who's still alive. That night, as I wiped tables, 2 customers chatted loudly near the window. Did you hear about that girl abandoned at the altar? One of them said. Yeah, the other replied. Some people said the guy realized she wasn't the one. They laughed. My throat tightened. Poor thing. Imagine being dumped in front of everyone. My vision blurred. I stepped back, trying not to drop the tray. Their voices felt like knives. I heard she begged him to marry her, one added. No wonder he ran. I couldn't breathe. Grace noticed my panic and approached. Ava, what's wrong? I whispered, they're talking about me. She turned toward them, anger flashing across her face, but I grabbed her arm. Don't. Please. I didn't want a scene. I didn't want more eyes on me. I just wanted to disappear. When my shift ended, I walked home alone. The streetlights blurred through my tears. Is this who I am now? I whispered to myself. A joke. The humiliation burned. I stopped in the middle of the sidewalk and pressed my hand against my chest. I'm becoming a story people laugh at. Saying it out loud hurt more than hearing it. I wiped my face roughly. No, I whispered. I won't let them define me. I won't be the girl everyone pities. I straightened my back, even though my heart still felt shattered. I don't know how I'll do it, I said quietly, but I'll fight my way out of this. And for the first time since the wedding, I felt a spark, small, trembling, but real. A decision settled inside me. I might be broken, but I wasn't finished. I took a breath, whispering to myself that healing would be messy and uneven, but it would be mine, and I would not back down. I told myself I would rise, even if every step forward terrified me. I stood outside Ethan's house, my palms trembling as I whispered, "You can do this." I told myself the same thing 3 times before I finally lifted my hand and knocked. The sound echoed louder than it should have, dragging my fear from my stomach to my throat. The door opened, and Marianne stood there wearing a smile that felt sharp enough to cut skin. "Oh," she said, tilting her head, "you're here." Her voice dripped with the kind of sweetness that always hid something rotten. I forced myself to breathe as I whispered, "I need to talk to Ethan." Marianne sighed as if I had personally ruined her evening. "He's not available," she said. "He's moved on." The phrase sliced straight through me, but before I could speak, I heard a woman laughing inside the house. The sound was bright, familiar, and cruel. My heart cracked all over again. "Who is that?" I asked, even though part of me already knew the answer. Marianne lifted her chin like she was presenting a prize. "Sophie," she said. "They are very happy together." My legs weakened. "Sophie?" I repeated. "Already?" Marianne shrugged as if switching fiancés was normal. "She's better suited for our family." The words stabbed deeper than I expected. I felt heat burn behind my eyes, but I refused to let her see me fall apart. "Did he say that?" I asked. Marianne smiled again, slow and poisonous. "He doesn't need to explain anything to you anymore. He chose someone who understands expectations." Her tone made my stomach twist. I stepped back, unable to breathe. "So that's it?" I whispered. "After everything, he just replaces me." Marianne didn't blink. "You pushed him too fast. He realized he wanted someone more refined." The insult hit harder than anything else. My hands shook as I muttered, "You don't know anything about me." "I know enough," she replied, and then she closed the door. Not slammed, closed, gently, like I didn't matter enough for dramatic gestures. I stared at the door for a long second before the laughter inside rose again, sharp and mocking. Sophie. Of course it was Sophie. My chest tightened until I couldn't stand there anymore. I ran. I didn't think, didn't look back. I just ran until the street blurred and my lungs burned. When I finally stopped, I dropped onto a bench and covered my face with shaking hands. "He replaced me," I whispered. "He really replaced me." Saying it out loud felt like ripping open a wound. A couple walking past slowed, staring at me like I was a scene from a bad movie. I wiped my eyes quickly and forced myself to sit up. "Don't look at me like that," I muttered. They pretended not to hear, but their pity followed them down the street, wrapping around me like chains. I leaned forward, gripping the edge of the bench. Why wasn't I enough? I whispered. The question tasted like blood. Anger simmered beneath my ribs, slow at first, then sharper, hotter. "You left me standing there," I said to no one. "You broke me without a reason. And now you pretend I never existed." I wiped my cheeks and slowly stood, feeling something inside me shift, like a door closing and another one cracking open. "No more," I whispered. My voice shook, but the meaning didn't. "You don't get to ruin me and walk away." The night air felt cold, but it steadied me. I breathed in deeply. "You took everything from me," I said softly. "Now watch how I rise." I meant every word that night. Grace showed up at my door early, knocking gently until I finally opened. She whispered, "You can't hide forever," and I murmured that I was trying. Grace shook her head and told me work needed me back today. I argued weakly, saying I wasn't ready, but she refused to budge. She said, "Breathing counts as ready," and somehow that made me move. Walking back into the cafe felt like stepping into a world I barely remembered. Grace nudged me forward, whispering that customers wouldn't bite and I'd be fine. I forced a smile as the bell chimed and the morning crowd drifted in. Lucas walked in quietly, choosing the corner seat he always preferred. He looked up at me with soft eyes and said, "Rough morning." I swallowed and replied, something like that, trying to steady my voice. He didn't ask anything else, just offered a gentle smile that didn't pity me. For the first time in weeks, I felt seen without feeling exposed. When I brought his coffee, he said softly, "Take care of yourself today." I nodded, surprised at how much those simple words steadied me. By noon, my chest felt lighter, even though the ache still lived under everything. When my shift ended, Pastor Hayes walked into the cafe looking for Grace. He noticed me and asked gently, "Would you mind stopping by the church later?" I hesitated, saying I wasn't sure talking would help, but he smiled warmly. He said, "Sometimes we speak not to fix things but to breathe again." Those words stayed with me until evening, when I finally walked to the church. Inside, I sat across from him and whispered, "I don't even know where to start." He told me to begin anywhere, so I broke open everything I'd buried. I cried harder than I meant to, shaking while he listened without interrupting. When I finally stopped, he said, "Pain can become power if you allow it." I stared at the floor and whispered that I didn't feel strong at all. He replied, "Strength doesn't start loud, it starts with choosing to breathe again." His words settled into me like a small light I didn't remember having. When I left the church, the night air felt different, cooler and strangely comforting. Grace called asking how it went, and I told her I finally breathed. She cheered softly and said she knew I'd find my feet again someday. Walking home, I whispered that I wasn't healed, but I wasn't drowning either. For the first time since the wedding, I felt a tiny spark forming inside me. I touched my chest and murmured that hope still frightened me, but it existed. The street lights glowed softly, and I felt something gentle returning to my soul. I whispered, "Maybe breathing is enough tonight," letting the thought settle inside me. I imagined tomorrow being kinder, even if only by a small fragile inch. Something warm pushed against the grief, reminding me I wasn't completely broken anymore. I breathed deeply and promised myself I would keep moving, even slowly and painfully. The night felt like a quiet companion, urging me not to give up again. I whispered that healing wasn't a straight line, but I was finally stepping forward. I reached home realizing I was hurt but still breathing. When I walked into the church office the next morning, Pastor Hayes greeted me with a warm smile. "I've been thinking about something," he said. I told him I wasn't ready for anything serious yet, but he waved off my worry. Just hear me out, he insisted. I sat across from him, clutching my hands together. What is it? The old community church building, he said. We need someone to manage it. Someone steady. Someone with heart. I think that person is you. I blinked at him. Me? Pastor, I can barely keep myself together. I'm still recovering. He smiled. That's exactly why you're the right one. You understand pain. People trust those who've walked through fire. I laughed awkwardly. I'm not running a whole church. I don't even know where I'd start. You'll learn, he said gently. And I'll help you every step. I walked out stunned. I called Claire immediately. She answered with, "Tell me good news, please." When I explained everything, she gasped. Are you kidding? You have to do it. I'm scared, I admitted. Claire snapped. You were brave enough to survive heartbreak. Managing a building is easy compared to that. Later at the cafe, Lucas came in during my shift. I brought him his usual drink, and he looked up at me with soft curiosity. You seem different today, he said. I hesitated, then told him about the offer. His eyes brightened. That's incredible. You should try it. You think so? I whispered. Yes, he said firmly. You've got a calm strength. People feel safe with you. His words surprised me. For a moment, everything inside me loosened, like someone had opened a window in my chest. The next day, I met Pastor Hayes again and accepted. He clapped his hands lightly. Then let's begin. When I walked into the old church building, dust floated in the sunbeams and wooden pews creaked under my touch. It's a mess, I whispered. A beautiful mess, he replied. Just like most beginnings. I spent the next week cleaning, painting, organizing, learning paperwork, and talking to volunteers. Every day someone new asked if I needed help. I found myself saying yes more often than no, which felt strange but good. Claire came with boxes of supplies. Look at you, she teased. Running a whole mission like a boss. I laughed genuinely, something I hadn't done in months. Grace stopped by after her shift. You look lighter, she said. Less haunted. I feel lighter, I admitted. Lucas visited too, handing me a bag of pastries. Fuel, he said with a shy smile. I thanked him, surprised again by how naturally he fit into the space around me. Each night I went home exhausted but proud. I didn't cry anymore. Not even once. My hands were busy. My mind was focused. My heart wasn't healed, but it wasn't bleeding either. One evening, standing alone in the newly cleaned hall, I touched the fresh painted wall and whispered, "This is mine." A slow warmth spread through me. For the first time since Ethan destroyed my world, I wasn't building around pain. I was building towards something. Something new. Something mine. Maybe losing him wasn't the end. Maybe it was the beginning I never expected. I was sorting donation boxes in the church hall when Claire rushed in. You're not going to believe this, she said, breathless. I sighed and set the box down. What now? She leaned closer. Sophie was screaming at Ethan outside the cafe. Noah overheard everything. I forced my face still. I'm not interested. Claire raised a brow. Liar. You want to hear it? I shrugged. Fine. Say it fast. She smirked. Ethan lied to her too. Apparently he hid money issues, blamed her for his problems, and kept texting someone behind her back. I felt something warm spark in my chest. Oh. Claire nodded. Sophie yelled. You're exactly who they warned me about. I swallowed a laugh. Good for her, then. Claire studied me. You're weirdly calm. I wiped dust from my hands. Maybe I'm too tired to care. She nudged my shoulder. You look like someone who just got handed justice on a silver plate. I shook my head quickly. No. Karma is doing its own thing. I'm not involved. Claire smirked. Still enjoying it, though. I muttered. Maybe a little. She pointed at my face. There. That smile. You're healing. I rolled my eyes. I'm working. She grinned. And winning. Later that day, Noah walked in carrying paint cans. I brought the white you asked for, he said. I smiled. Perfect timing. He hesitated. Want to hear more tea? I groaned. Do I look like I want tea?
He laughed.
You always want tea.
I crossed my arms. Fine.
What happened now?
Noah leaned against the wall. Sophie threw his jacket into the street.
Cars ran over it. I snorted. That's dramatic. Noah shrugged. Well, he deserves worse.
I didn't disagree.
But instead of bitterness, I felt light. People reveal themselves eventually, I said. I don't need to push anything.
Noah nodded slowly.
You really are changing.
I picked up a paint roller.
I'm choosing peace.
He smiled.
And it looks good on you. As we painted, Lucas stepped inside quietly. You missed a spot, he said, pointing at the top corner.
I laughed.
Then grab a brush and fix it.
He climbed the ladder.
I heard about Ethan and Sophie, he said gently.
I sighed.
Everyone heard.
Lucas gave me a soft look.
You okay? I dipped the roller in paint. Honestly, yes.
He didn't hide his relief. Good.
You deserve to be.
I felt my chest warm.
I'm tired of hurting, I admitted. I want something better.
Lucas glanced down at me.
You're building something better.
Look around. I did.
The half-painted walls, new flooring, sunlight pouring through clean windows. It all felt like a heartbeat returning.
My heartbeat.
I never thought I could do this, I whispered.
Lucas smiled.
Pastor Hayes knew you could.
I breathed out.
He believed in me before I believed in myself. Lucas stepped off the ladder. And now you believe.
I paused, gripping the roller.
I think I'm starting to. That evening, Claire peeked in again.
So?
How's the holy makeover going?
I laughed.
We're getting there.
She glanced around and nodded.
You look strong today. I surprised myself by agreeing. I feel strong. Claire stepped closer. And Ethan's downfall. I shrugged.
Not my problem. She smiled proudly.
That's growth. I inhaled the scent of fresh paint. I'm done crying over people who threw me away. Claire squeezed my hand. Good. Keep going.
I nodded.
I am. As they left, I stood alone in the quiet church, feeling the echo of my own steps.
Healing wasn't loud. It whispered. It moved slowly. It rebuilt me piece by piece.
And somewhere deep inside, I finally felt myself coming back. I exhaled slowly, ready for whatever comes next. I stood at the doorway of the church, staring at the fresh paint, the polished benches, the soft glow of morning light reflecting across the floor.
Claire nudged me gently. You ready? She asked. I swallowed hard.
As ready as I can be.
She grinned. Good.
Because there's a crowd waiting. I blinked.
A crowd?
For what?
She laughed.
For you, idiot. You're the one who rebuilt this place.
I shook my head.
I just cleaned and organized.
She smirked.
You rebuilt more than walls. Before I could respond, Pastor Hayes approached with a warm smile. There she is, he said. I lifted a hand nervously. Does everything look okay?
He chuckled.
It looks like hope.
My throat tightened.
I never imagined I'd be part of something like this.
He rested a hand on my shoulder. Pain can destroy or transform.
You chose transformation. I whispered. I didn't think I had a choice.
He looked into my eyes.
You always had one.
People slowly filled the hall.
I heard whispers, soft greetings, footsteps echoing. Mrs. Turner waved at me. Thank you for bringing this place back, she said.
I smiled shyly.
I'm glad it helps.
Mr. Alvarez shook my hand next. We needed this, he told me.
You gave us something to believe in. I struggled to breathe for a moment. I just wanted to heal, I said.
He squeezed my hand.
And you healed us, too. Lucas appeared beside me holding a small bouquet.
These are for you, he said quietly. My eyes widened.
Flowers?
Why?
He shrugged, cheeks faintly red. Because today matters.
I took the bouquet carefully.
They are beautiful.
He smiled.
So is what you've done here. I looked away, suddenly flustered. I didn't expect to feel anything today. Lucas leaned closer. You deserve to feel proud.
Claire peeked over his shoulder. Finally.
Someone gives you flowers who isn't a liar.
I nudged her. Stop. She grinned. What?
It's true.
I shook my head but laughed softly.
Let me have this moment without your commentary.
She raised both hands. Fine, fine.
I'll behave, for 5 minutes. When everyone settled, Pastor Hayes stepped onto the small platform. Before we begin, he said, I want to acknowledge someone.
My stomach tightened.
Oh no, I whispered.
Claire elbowed me. Oh yes. Pastor Hayes gestured toward me. This church was on the verge of closing. It was falling apart.
But someone walked in with broken hands, a broken heart, and a fire she didn't even know she had.
People turned to look at me. I felt my knees shake.
This church stands today because of her, he continued. I call her the girl who rose again. A wave of sound filled the hall. Applause, cheers, murmurs of gratitude.
I pressed a hand to my chest.
Claire whispered, You earned this.
Lucas leaned closer. Breathe.
You're okay. I whispered back. I don't know what to do.
He chuckled quietly. Smile.
That's enough.
Pastor Hayes beckoned me forward.
Say something, he urged. I took a shaky breath and stepped onto the platform.
My voice wavered. Hi, I said, earning soft laughter.
I didn't think I'd ever stand here again. The memory of my wedding day flashed in my mind. The aisle, the flowers, Ethan turning away, the silence that swallowed me whole.
My fingers trembled.
This place used to remind me of the worst moment of my life, I continued. But now it feels like a new beginning. Someone shouted gently, You did it. Another voice added, We're proud of you. I held back tears.
Thank you, I said.
Thank you for letting me rebuild something that once destroyed me. I walked toward the altar, letting my hand rest on its smooth surface. The same spot where my world once collapsed. My voice lowered to a whisper. I survived. Lucas heard it. Claire heard it. Pastor Hayes heard it. But more importantly, I heard it. I stepped back, stronger than before. I'm ready, I said softly. Claire asked, Ready for what? I looked toward the doors, toward my future. Ready to face anything, even the past. And for the first time, the hall echoed not with memories of heartbreak, but with the sound of my own rising. I was locking the church doors when I heard footsteps crunching on the gravel. At first, I ignored them. Late visitors were common, but then I heard it. My name, soft, strained, familiar.
Ava, please. My heart skipped. I froze. I knew that voice.
I wanted to pretend I didn't, but I couldn't. I turned slowly. Ethan stood there, thinner, exhausted, desperate. His shoulders slumped, and his eyes looked haunted. What are you doing here? I whispered.
He stepped closer.
I needed to see you. I have to explain.
I shook my head immediately. Explain? After everything?
After months of silence, after blocking me everywhere.
I know, he said quickly, voice breaking. I messed up.
I know I hurt you, but please, let me talk.
No, I said firmly. You had your chance. You chose to vanish. That was your choice.
I wasn't thinking clearly, he admitted. I was scared, Ava. I was scared.
I interrupted sharply.
You left me on our wedding day. You destroyed me, and now you want me to hear excuses.
I know, he whispered. I can't undo the past. I just want you to understand.
I don't need your understanding, I said, stepping toward the path. I need nothing from you. He followed, hesitant but insistent. Ava, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I want to tell you why.
I don't care why, I said.
It won't change anything.
His jaw tightened. Sophie, she left me.
I realized too late that she used me, manipulated me, and that's your problem, not mine, I said coldly, refusing to look at him.
But I couldn't stop thinking about you, he said, voice raw.
Even when I was alone, even when I tried to forget. I stopped and faced him, chest tightening. Memories crashed. Our laughter, my wedding gown, the empty aisle, the text that broke me.
Why now?
I whispered. I needed time, he said, almost pleading. I needed to fix myself before I could face you.
I wasn't ready then, but I am now.
Please, just hear me. I laughed, a short, sharp sound.
Hear you? Hear the man who left me for months without a word?
You think that changes anything? I know it won't fix the past, he admitted.
I'm not asking for that.
I just…
Stop, I said, voice firm. Stop talking. I'm done listening to your apologies.
They don't matter. He swallowed hard, stepping closer.
Ava, please. I've changed. I'm not the same man who left you.
I know I hurt you, and I regret it every day.
I don't care, I said. I care about me.
And right now, I choose me.
His shoulders sagged. So that's it?
You're walking away. Yes, I whispered, feeling a strange mixture of fear and power. I'm walking away. He reached out, like he wanted to hold me, to plead further, but I didn't look back. The gravel crunched under my feet as I walked toward the church doors, my heart beat loud in my ears. Behind me, I heard him call my name again, soft and desperate. I stopped only long enough to whisper to myself, almost as a vow. Why now? And then I stepped inside, closing the distance between who I was and who I was becoming. This version is exactly 600 words, fully first-person POV, and heavily dialogue-focused, capturing the tension, fear, and emerging power in Ava's perspective. I sat on the church steps, staring at the fading evening light, when Ethan lowered himself beside me. I kept my hands folded in my lap, ready, calm, steady. He looked nothing like the man who once left me at the altar.
His voice trembled when he finally spoke. Ava,
I owe you the truth.
I didn't look at him.
Then say it.
He exhaled shakily.
My mom gave me an ultimatum. She told me I had to choose between you and my inheritance. She said if I married you, I'd lose everything she planned to hand down.
I nodded once.
So you chose money?
No, he whispered. I chose fear.
And I chose wrong.
I said nothing. He rubbed his face.
Marianne brought Sophie into the picture months earlier. She kept saying Sophie was stable, perfect, and right for our family. I listened like an idiot. I thought I was protecting my future.
I finally turned to him. And me? He swallowed hard. I thought you'd move on. I thought you'd be better without me. I let out a small breath.
That wasn't your decision to make.
I know, he said. I know that now.
I stared ahead at the empty street. Go on. He hesitated, then continued. After I left you, everything started falling apart. The business my mom pushed me to start failed.
Investors backed out. Friends stopped answering.
Sophie.
God,
Sophie used me.
She lied about helping me.
She cheated more than once.
My voice stayed even.
And now you want sympathy.
No, he said quickly.
I'm not asking for anything. I just want you to hear the truth from me, not from rumors.
I looked at him finally.
His eyes were red, tired, and full of regret. But inside me, there was no spark, no anger, no pain, just emptiness that felt strangely like peace. So the life you left me for, I said softly, was never real.
He shook his head. It was a mistake.
All of it. And you think telling me this fixes the damage?
No, he whispered.
Nothing can fix it. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The wind carried a soft hum from the church lights behind us. I folded my arms around myself, not out of sadness, but out of something like finality. Why didn't you tell me the truth back then?
I asked. Because I was a coward, he said. Because I let my mom decide who I was supposed to love. Because I didn't believe I deserved someone like you. I let the words fall between us like broken glass. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. Ava, I regret everything. Every choice. Every lie. Every second I left you standing alone. I think about it every day. I inhaled, slow and steady. Good. His head lifted. Good.
Yes, I said calmly. Because regret means you finally understand what you threw away. He blinked rapidly, like he didn't expect that answer. Do you hate me?
I shook my head. No.
He looked confused, hopeful, scared all at once. Then what do you feel?
I placed my hand on my chest. Nothing. Not love. Not anger. Not pain.
Just peace.
His lips parted.
Peace.
Yes, I said. You didn't break me, Ethan. You built the woman I am today.
You made me stronger. You made me walk into a life I never would have found if you hadn't walked out. He stared at me like he was seeing a different person, a stranger he wished he knew. Ava, he whispered, you've changed.
I had to, I replied.
Life didn't give me a choice. He nodded slowly, his voice barely leaving his throat.
I'm proud of you.
I stood up.
Good.
Then let this be our last conversation.
His breath caught.
Is this goodbye?
It's closure, I said gently.
For both of us. And without another word, I walked back inside the church that once broke me. Now the place that held everything I rebuilt. The church doors creaked as I walked in, my heels echoing softly across the polished floor. I had barely settled behind the altar when I heard it. Hurried footsteps, uneven, desperate.
Ava, please. Ethan's voice rang out, low and shaky. I froze, my chest tightening.
I knew that tone. Pleading, broken. He appeared in the aisle, eyes wide, shoulders trembling.
I need to explain.
Just give me a moment.
I squared my shoulders. Explain?
After everything?
You walked out on me. You left me broken.
And now you want explanations.
I know
I hurt you, he said quickly,
voice cracking. But I can't stop thinking about you. I can't live with what I did.
I took a slow breath, letting the words sink in. You had months.
You had every opportunity.
You chose to disappear.
That was your choice, Ethan.
Don't try to rewrite it now.
His lips trembled.
I didn't know. I wasn't ready. I made mistakes.
Huge mistakes. But I can fix it.
I can. Please, let me prove it. You can't fix what's already broken, I said firmly. I'm not the woman who waited for you here, crying. I'm not that girl anymore. Tears pooled in his eyes.
Ava, I love you. I always have.
I shook my head, voice unwavering. Love isn't enough, not after what you did. You think words can undo months of pain. He sank to his knees on the cold wooden floor, head bowed.
I'm begging you. Just one more chance.
One more chance to make it right. I swallowed hard, holding back emotions I refused to let surface.
No.
I won't let you manipulate me with guilt. I choose myself this time. From the corner of my eye, I saw movement. Lucas had arrived. He stood silently behind me, calm, steady, a quiet pillar of support.
I felt a small wave of reassurance. Ethan looked up and froze.
Lucas?
I didn't answer. I didn't need to. My eyes were on him, unwavering. Ethan, this isn't about anyone else. This is about me.
I am done waiting for you.
Done hoping.
Done forgiving what I should never have had to forgive. He reached out a hand, trembling. Please, just hear me. I've heard enough, I said.
I've lived enough.
And I am walking away. His shoulders slumped, chest rising and falling in ragged breaths. The tears slipped down his face, but they didn't pierce me.
Not anymore.
I stepped past him, heels clicking against the floor.
Your apologies don't change the past.
They never will. My life isn't yours to haunt or salvage.
He whimpered, voice almost lost. Ava, don't close the door on me.
Not forever. I turned slightly, looking down at him one last time.
The door isn't closed on you as a person, Ethan.
It's closed on the version of me who waited for you. That girl no longer exists. Lucas's hand brushed mine briefly, silent support. I inhaled deeply, feeling power surge through me, not because he suffered, but because I finally let go. I walked toward the main entrance, past the pews, past the echo of my past, and stepped into the sunlight. For the first time in years, I felt free.
Whole. Alive.
The door behind me closed softly, a quiet, definitive click.
And I knew I would never look back.
The sun streamed through the stained glass windows, painting the church in warm colors. I walked slowly down the aisle, taking in the quiet hum of life around me. People chatted softly, thanking me for keeping the church alive, for bringing it back to its former glory. Miss Ava, this place wouldn't exist without you, Claire said, brushing dust from a pew. Her smile was steady, familiar, comforting. I couldn't have done it without you, I replied, warmth in my voice. And Grace too. She's been my anchor. Grace appeared beside me, hands covered in paint from some last-minute repairs. You've done all the hard work. We just help a little. I laughed softly. A little? You kept me sane. Lucas appeared at the doorway, quiet as ever, holding a small bouquet of wildflowers. He offered them with a gentle smile. For you. You deserve it. I took them, inhaling the delicate scent. Thank you. You've been steady. I never thought I'd feel safe again, and somehow, you make it easy. He shrugged, eyes soft. No rush. I'm just here, with you. I glanced around the church, the place that had once been the stage for my heartbreak, now vibrant and alive. I whispered to myself, I didn't lose anything that was meant for me. Just then, my phone buzzed. A message. I glanced at it, Ethan. His name alone made my chest tighten. I opened it cautiously. Ava, can we talk? I miss you. Please. I stared at the screen, and then I deleted it. I didn't reply. I wouldn't reply. The man who left me, who abandoned my heart, no longer had a place in my life. Not now. Not ever. You okay? Lucas asked softly, sensing the tension. I nodded. I am. I've never been better. He smiled, and I felt a gentle warmth in my chest, not the ache of longing, but the steady comfort of someone who cares without demanding. Claire's voice cut in from the side. You've changed, Ava. The girl who used to cry in the church is gone. Look at you now. I allowed myself a small laugh. She's gone. And in her place, I paused, letting the words find me. I've become someone stronger. Someone whole. The church bell rang, echoing through the empty streets outside. I stepped toward the altar, the same spot where Ethan had once abandoned me, the same place that had seen my tears, my despair. But now, it was mine. Every inch, every beam, every echo belonged to me. Not to him. Not to anyone who tried to break me. I had rebuilt my life with my own hands, my own heart, my own strength. I'm ready, I whispered, more to myself than anyone else. Ready for life, ready for love, ready for everything that belongs to me. Lucas gently squeezed my shoulder. You don't have to say it out loud. We all see it. I smiled, eyes shining with quiet power. I know. And I feel it. I'm not angry. I'm not bitter. I'm free. Grace and Claire exchanged a glance, pride shining in their eyes. I took a deep breath, letting the sunlight warm my face, feeling the peace that comes after the storm. The church was alive, my life was alive, and I was alive. Fully, completely, undeniably alive. And in that moment, I knew, I had lost nothing that was meant for me, and I had gained everything I needed. I whispered one last time, under the golden light streaming through the stained glass, I didn't lose anything that was meant for me. This version is exactly 600 words, dialogue-focused, first-person POV, showing Ava's final transformation and empowerment.